Now coming to light, a major alleged scandal involving the NBA connected to New York mafia families and the FBI indicting 31 people, including current and former NBA players, as well as a basketball Hall of Famer and current coach. It includes Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups, and former player Damon Jones. This sending shockwaves through the sports community and beyond. We've now learned Rozier's arrest stems from a series of unusual bets placed on his performance in 2023. At the time, the NBA did not find any evidence of wrongdoing. Rozier did not play in the Heat season opener on Wednesday night this week. Billups' arrest is in connection to an illegal poker operation. This case connected to former NBA player Jontay Porter, who was previously charged for his role in a gambling scandal and banned for life from the NBA in April. This is not the first time the sports world has been rocked by scandal. Some of the biggest scandals in history, of course, Pete Rose bet on baseball while managing the Reds. Even though he's the all-time hits leader, he got banned for life, still is not in the Hall of Fame. Tim Donaghy, an NBA ref, was betting on games he was calling. He served time in prison for that, and the league's reputation took a big hit. In the NFL, Calvin Ridley got hit with a full season suspension. He placed bets while away from the team, even though he picked his own club. And last year, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter got caught in a huge gambling scandal. He stole millions to feed a sports betting habit. Ohtani was cleared of any wrongdoing. Then Jontay Porter, he got hit with that ban for life after fixing his own prop bets. He told bettors that he wouldn't play much. Then he left the games early, saying that he was hurt, helping them win money on bets that he'd have low stats. And now we've got Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and assistant coach Damon Jones all under arrest. The feds say they are part of a wider betting scheme. There are serious implications to these charges. Joining us now, Eric Faddis. He's a former trial attorney and felony prosecutor. Thank you so much for being here. I think as we sort of absorb all of the charges and these indictments, our heads are spinning. How strong do you think the prosecution's case is based on the evidence they've laid out so far?
Well, Marnie, I mean, these are sweeping and somewhat sensational indictments, according to that press conference by the FBI just this morning. It's going to involve a number of different people, a number of witnesses, some of whom might not have the best reputation in terms of credibility. It sounds like there is also information about devices used, some advanced devices allegedly used to fix these poker games. And so it is a widespread investigation that has been going on for years. I imagine the federal government has positioned themselves relatively well in terms of evidence, but these are really just the initial stages. So we're still learning more about sort of the strength of the case.
It's one side of the story, right? They're going to have their own defense as to what happened. And based on what I'm seeing, Eric, the web here is massive. How challenging is it to prove that those who are charged knew what was happening?
That's a critical element, Marty. You have to prove that not only were they sort of looped into some alleged wrongdoing, but that they had knowledge of it and that they moved forward with this alleged criminal conduct anyway. And that's going to be a tall order. Chauncey Billups, for example, he's from Colorado, where I'm from. He has a sterling reputation here as a philanthropist and an upstanding member of the community. So they're going to have to overcome that impression by many that these folks have been committed to the game for years. They've dedicated their lives to it, and now allegedly that they're engaging in underhanded tactics to make money in violation of the law and of the game's rules. That's a tall order.
Looking through the indictment, I mean, there are a handful of charges in 2 of these indictments. And again, more than 30 people arrested. But we're talking about wire fraud, illegal gambling, fraudulent sports betting, robbery, even extortion. Talk specifically about the charges and which may be most difficult to prove.
Yeah, in looking at the charges, they're sort of separated into 2 categories. One is kind of having inside information about perhaps players in the NBA and how they might perform, whether they might be injured, whether they might have to sit out a game. It's akin to kind of insider trading, where they're alleging that certain people had these informational advantages that others didn't have, and that manipulated sort of the odds of betting on the game. On the other side, they're alleging that there are these rigged poker games that involved the mafia, that involved these crime families, as well as high-profile NBA players. And so, like I said, rather sensational accusations here, and the potential penalties could be years in prison on both sides. So very high stakes, and a number of different types of crimes alleged, like you said, wire fraud, other types of fraud as well.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.